O.J. Simpson. It's like that's not a hill that you want to die on. But for some reason, Stephen A. picked up his flag.
Understand what? Ready to retire, Stephen A? Was you ready to retire? What says you?
Stephen A. Smith? What about Stephen A. Smith?
What about leaving?
Oh, he's
That's something that I would die on. We see all types of crazy stuff at the BET Music Awards. Why do you want to chastise black people when you see all of these women running around butt ass naked? You see all of these men acting like buffoons, but the one thing that got on your nerves was they did a tribute to O.J. Simpson. The one thing out of the whole BET Awards that got on your nerves was, hey, they did a tribute to O.J. Simpson, and I think that's disrespectful. First of all, Stephen A., do you listen to rap music? I mean, do you actually listen to rap music? Because if you listen to rap music, I mean, this is what they do. I mean, they did a whole tribute to King Von. They did a whole tribute to all of these serial murders out here, but they're rappers. You should have left it alone, Stephen A. You gotta know what hill to die on. And I'd be damned if I would have said, hey, you know what? Today, I'm gonna die on O.J. Simpson. I would have been damned. I've been damn. And Stephen A., and then you made it worse. And instead of just saying, hey, I spoke out of turn, I shouldn't have said shit, I apologize, you wanted to get into a beef with Willie D and Faison Love. And you know you can't touch Willie D. Willie D might be the slowest talking person ever, but we know that you're not street. Willie D is kind of street. You don't want no beef with Willie D. You don't want beef. You're talking about, you're trying to take a street level with Willie D. We know you're not about life. We know you're not about that life. But you want us to believe that you're talking tough. You boy, that man is from the 5th Ward in Houston. That man has been through some shit. You're talking tough behind the computer. You might have to see that man. You should have just left this alone, Stephen A. I ain't gonna lie to you. Maybe Shining Sharp can can say, hey man, I think you should just leave that one alone. Or, you know, why don't you have some yak and a cigarette and shut the hell on up? Because I'd have left that alone, man. You should have left that alone. I was gonna be honest with you. I'd have left that alone, man. You done said some stuff, you know. You done said some stuff, you know. People been on your backside for a long time, but to come out and criticize over O.J. Simpson, man, you was ready to retire. That's all I can understand. That's all I can see. You was ready to retire. It's like, what was, you know, sometimes you gotta, when you go into a situation, you gotta add up the rewards with the risk. What am I gonna win and what can I lose? And you should have seen there was nothing to gain from chastising black people for celebrating O.J. Simpson. There was nothing to gain, but there was everything to lose. And you should have said, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna touch that. But for some reason, you decided you was gonna chastise black people for celebrating O.J. Simpson. For some reason, you thought that was a good idea. For some reason. I mean, are you kin to the Goldmans? Are the Goldmans putting money in your pocket? Because I don't understand, you know, like sometimes you just gotta tell your bosses, hey, not today. Don't push me out there because I don't want to be the one who has to take on this fight. Because you're taking on this fight by yourself. There's nobody, the ESPN hosts, all your friends at ESPN, all your friends at your podcast, they like, hey, Stephen A., you on your own. I don't want no parts of that community, so I'm going to leave it alone. But you decided that, hey, I'm going to stick up for y'all. And Stephen A., this is the crazy thing. In Alabama, they gave the people a choice between Robert Lee's birthday, and Robert Lee is a slave owner, a trader. He was the general of the Confederate owner of the Confederate soldiers, or Juneteenth. You would have been better off taking on that argument. You would have been better off saying, hey, how the hell in Alabama y'all gonna make the people choose between a slave owner and the emancipation of the slaves? That makes no sense, Stephen A., but you said nothing. You didn't say nothing to the people of Alabama. You got your Stephen Django Unchained ass on your podcast and chastise black people. Like, I'm gonna have to ask the black people something. When the hell did we elect Stephen A. Smith to be our leader? Someone in the comments tell me what meeting did I miss that he became the leader of black people. Someone tell me, like, what meeting did we have that I wasn't there and we all said, hey, we're going to elect Stephen A. Smith to be our spokesperson. What meeting was there? Was I missed the meeting that someone didn't tell me that we said Stephen A. Smith was going to be our next Malcolm X? Someone didn't tell me. I'm mad, black people. Why didn't y'all tell me this? Y'all didn't tell me that we elected Stephen A. Smith to be the spokesperson for black people. Who the hell elected this man to speak for black people? Please, because I don't want to disrespect him if we said, hey, Stephen A. is our leader. He's our leader. If you have any questions about what we're doing, go ask Stephen A. And if you have a problem with what we're doing, go get Stephen A. and Stephen A. will chastise us. I missed it. I missed it, y'all. I missed it. And I apologize, black people. I apologize. I don't want to disrespect our leader. I don't want to disrespect our leader because for some reason we all got together, but I wasn't there. And we told Stephen A., hey, Stephen A., you're the new leader. You're the new leader. And when white people have a problem with us, you get on your podcast and you chastise us for it. That's the whole point. No one said, Stephen A., we want you to be the leader of black people. Stephen A., you are a sports person. Talk about sports, right? Talk about sports. Don't talk about stuff that doesn't, it's not your right to tell us who we should vote for. That's not what you're famous for. Now you're trying to be a jack of all trades. You're trying to be in the political game. You're trying to be in the sports game. You're trying to be in the streets. That's not your job. Stephen A., when I want to listen to you, it's only about sports. I don't want to hear who you're voting for. I don't want to hear if you're voting, what's your problem with Biden or Trump or the Democrats and the Republicans. I don't want to hear that shit. I just want to hear you talk about someone dribbling the basketball, catching the football, hitting the baseball, or punching the punching bag. Yes, I am. I'm telling him to shut up and dribble because that's what he's known for. And Malcolm X said the same thing too. Malcolm X said that when you look at the black community, we have a bunch of puppets as our leaders, trumpet players, ball players, announcers. We don't have real leaders. We have a bunch of puppets who got their money, who from the slave master, and the slave master tells them what they can talk about. I mean, when you was going to war with Jason Whitlock, check this out. Go watch when he's talking about Jason Whitlock. He's basically begging ESPN to give him permission to go at Jason Whitlock. I'm like, what type of man are you? What type of man are you that you have to ask another man, can you fight another man? The last time I asked someone to fight was when I was 7 years old and I had to ask my mama, could I go out there and fight that boy? A grown man does not ask another man, can he fight? That's not what grown men do. But Stephen A. was constantly, I had to talk it over with the bosses at ESPN. What the hell was you? You a grown ass man. You should be able to say what the hell you want to say. But Stephen A. don't want to lose that check. Stephen A. don't want to lose that check. Stephen A., every black person on ESPN, according to Stephen Smith, Stephen A, owes their jobs to him. He like got every black person on. When you come on ESPN, you got to kiss the ring of Stephen A. Smith. Because if you don't, Stephen A. Smith is going to say, hey, don't you talk to me like that, boy. I'm the reason you on ESPN. I got you on ESPN. And you're like, damn, man, I'm not even fucking on First Take. I mean, it's crazy, Stephen A. I mean, like, goddamn. You told Monica McNutt that you got Shannon Sharp on there. You got Kendrick Perkins on there. I mean, ESPN must have two sections. ESPN got a section for white people and a section for Stephen A. Smith people who are black. Like, all the white people can go to the lunchroom and Stephen A. Smith's people have to eat in a separate lunchroom. I think ESPN, according to Stephen A. Smith, they practice Jim Crow over there. They practice Jim Crow at ESPN because the blacks have to go to a separate room because, you know, they can't, you know, they didn't make it there because of their own merits. They made it there because of Stephen A. Stephen A, you're going to feel kind of messed up when ESPN fires your ass. When ESPN lets you go because you think you got too much power. And you did what they wanted you to do, criticize the BET Awards for honoring O.J. Simpson. You didn't criticize the BET Awards for having poor family values. You didn't criticize the BET Awards for dressing up black women as sluts. You didn't do that, Stephen A. You had a problem with O.J. Simpson. Stephen A., let me ask you a question. If the BET Awards did a tribute to Michael Jackson, because we all know what Michael Jackson was accused of, would you have a problem with that? Would you have a problem with that, Stephen A.? If the BET Awards had a because if you have a problem with O.J. Simpson getting honored, you should have a problem with Michael Jackson being honored because these were two black men accused of heinous crimes and they was both found not guilty. I thought in America, once you found not guilty, that means you didn't do the shit. That's what I thought not guilty means. You didn't do the shit. So why are we calling O.J. Simpson a murderer? He was never convicted. He was never convicted. Someone said Michael didn't cut off heads. Either did O.J. So what you telling me, Roseanne Merlino? The justice system doesn't work, correct? So when black people take to the streets and they protest the justice system, we are justified. But I thought y'all told black people we should believe in the system. The one time we believe in the system, y'all telling us the system got it wrong. Make up y'all's mind. Should we believe in the system or did the system get it wrong? Which one? I don't know. The one black people believe, now everyone's telling us the system got it wrong. So the system got it wrong. So basically the system doesn't work. I mean, that's all I'm asking. Like, when should we believe in the system? OJ was found not guilty. So OJ is not a murderer. He was never placed in jail. He was never charged or convicted. He was never convicted. So why are y'all saying OJ is a murderer? You know, y'all say those 4 cops that beat Rodney King, y'all saying they not guilty. Y'all not running around here saying they y'all not calling them, y'all not calling George Zimmerman a murderer. You're not calling what's the boy who shot those 3 people up in Milwaukee, up in Wisconsin? He's not considered a murderer. Right? Because they was all found not guilty. Because they was all found not guilty. But OJ is considered a murderer even though he was found not guilty. That don't make no sense. So Kyle Rittenhouse is not a murderer. He wasn't, you know why he's not a murderer? Because he wasn't found guilty. So you can't call him a murderer. But for some reason, O.J. Simpson is a murderer, but he wasn't found guilty. That makes no sense. That makes no sense, Stephen A. Smith. And you said y'all celebrating a murderer. How? How are we celebrating a murderer when he was never convicted for murder? That makes no sense. How are we celebrating a murderer if he was never convicted for murder? That makes no sense. So the system doesn't work is basically what all of y'all who are calling O.J. Simpson a murderer, you're saying the system, you are now finally agreeing with the rest of us that the system doesn't work. Because the one time we believe in the damn system, y'all tell us the system don't work. The system don't work. That makes no sense. Makes no sense. I would have never picked to die on this hill. I would have never picked to die on this hill if I was Stephen A. So, for some reason, Stephen A. took his arrogant ass, picked up his flag, and ran up that damn hill and stuck that flag in the middle of the ground. And he thought he wasn't going to get no pushback. He thought he wasn't going to get no pushback. He thought that he was going to be able to chastise the black community and nobody was going to say anything. We was just going to take our whooping from our daddy, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is the daddy of black people. And he pulled out that belt and he was just going to have to whip black people. We thought he was just going to whip black people and we was just going to take our whipping and go back in our rooms and lay in the bed and cry. Stephen A., please, man. Only people, ain't nobody scared of you outside them people that work with you at ESPN. Nobody's scared of you, Stephen A. If I ain't getting an ESPN check, I don't give a damn what you say, Stephen A. If you want me to care about what you say, get me an ESPN check. Other than that, I don't give a damn what you say. I ain't going to sit by and let you treat me like no little boy. Yeah, that's what you do to Shannon Sharp. That's what you do to Kendrick Perkins. That's what you do on ESPN. But you came off ESPN and thought you was going to whoop black people. And you thought black people was just going to take it. Shit, you got black people, man, who don't even give a damn about O.J. Simpson. A lot of y'all saying, Stephen A. went on his podcast and chastised black people because at the BET Awards, they had a tribute to O.J. Simpson. And now he's upset because a lot black people started shooting back, calling him names, calling him Stephen off of Django Chains, calling him the raccoon, calling him Steppin' and Fetch It. Now he's mad and he's trying to say OJ didn't even want to be black. What the hell? That's what he's trying to say. I did more for black people than OJ. I'm like, come on, Stephen A. Now you're going to pull that cord out. I did more for black people than O.J. Simpson did. Get the hell out of here. He going to say O.J. Oh, remember? And then he going to try to bring in, he going to try to bring in Jay-Z's song. Remember Jay-Z said, I ain't black, I'm O.J. And let's really deal with that because this is what O.J. Simpson said. O.J. Simpson said, the man who he told the story to, he said, because the lady was told O.J. Simpson, you don't got to sit over there with them N-words. So the man, he said, wow, the white man made it seem like he was so offended by this woman saying that about black people. And he said, O.J. Simpson told him, hey, don't you get it? I'm not black. I'm not white. See, people don't want to quote that part. They just want to quote the part where he says, I'm not black. But he said, I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm OJ. OJ was an arrogant SOB. We're not going to deny that. OJ was an arrogant SOB. He thought he was better than everyone, not just black people. He thought he was better than everyone. He thought he was a brand. It didn't have nothing to do with black people. It had something to do with how arrogant he was. But Stephen A. Smith is going to try to pull. He didn't even want to be around black people. It was a black man in the Bronco with him. What are you talking about, Stephen A? It was a black man in the Bronco with him. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Stephen A? It was a black man in the Bronco. It was a black man in the Bronco, Stephen A. And then you want to pull up your record like you got this long humanitarian record of helping black people. He said, I did more for black people than OJ. What the hell did you do for black people, Stephen A? What the hell did you do for black people, Stephen A? Helping Kendrick Perkins is not helping black people. Helping Shannon Sharp is not helping black people. Getting ex-athletes on ESPN is not helping black people. You're helping them. What have you done for black people, Stephen A? All that money ESPN has given you, how much of it have you gave to black people? Solely to black people. We don't want to hear what you have did for multiple people. We want to hear just what you have did for black people. What have you did for black people? You ain't did a goddamn thing for black people. Stop it, Stephen A. Stop it. Now you upset because black people won't let you be the leader of them. You upset because you try to chastise black people and black people fought back. That's what you're upset about. That's what you're upset about. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's their business. That's what they can do, whatever the hell they want to do. But bigger than that. Bigger than that. You had all this righteousness. You had black women where you could see their damn breasts. You could see their legs. You could see their butts. I thought we was at Kentucky Fried Chicken watching that shit. It was only legs, breast, and ass. That's all BET was. Legs, breast, and ass. And Stephen A didn't say nothing about that. Stephen A didn't say nothing about all of these black women walking around half naked. If you cared so much about black women, black people, why didn't you speak about that? Why didn't you say, hey, all of this immorality, all of these female rappers getting on here talking all this nasty stuff is corrupting the kids. Did y'all hear the story out of Baltimore? Out of Baltimore, where the 12-year-old girl met a 22-year-old man on the playground? The 22-year-old man was stupid because he thought the 12-year-old was 22 years old. But the 12-year-older decided she wanted to go back to the house with the 22-year-old man and have some relations. And she said it was consensual. So all of these sexy reds, all of these Ice Spices, these Nicki Minaj's, these Megan Thee Stallions, they're corrupting our young girls. At 12 years old, you shouldn't even be thinking about no sex. But you listening to the radio to all of these strip rappers talking about some X. And now we got 12-year-olders out here trying to seduce 22-year-old men. That's crazy. But Stephen A, you could have said something about that. You could have said something about all the black men who got on BET and had lyrics that was talking about offing other black men. But you decided to speak on OJ. All the righteousness of the BET Awards, the only thing that rubbed you the wrong way was the tribute to OJ Simpson. And you out here saying, look how that made us look to white people. Hell. That's what you saying made us look crazy to white people? Was we had a tribute to OJ Simpson? Not the fact that you had Angela Simmons, who ain't never lived in the hood a day in her life, walking around with a gun shaped as a purse. Not the fact that you had all of these women showing their private parts. Not the fact that you had all of this ratchet ass music talking about the destruction of black youth. OJ Simpson. OJ Simpson rubs you the wrong way. Stephen A, I really want to give you the benefit of the doubt that you went to your office and they called you in the office and they said, Stephen A., you need to make a statement about this OJ thing if you want to keep your job. I really want to believe that your masters made you do this, because I don't want to believe you did this on your own. I really want to give you the benefit of the doubt, and the only reason I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt is because you're a black man. Right. How long was it? 1 second long. I mean, I don't either. And what the hell was Stephen A. watching them for? What the hell was you watching them for, Stephen A.? You 60 years old. Ain't no reason no 60-year-old person should be watching the damn BET Awards. You 60 damn years old watching the BET Awards. What the hell was you watching the BET Awards for? I'm sure there was some trash-ass WNBA basketball game on. You could have been watching. You could have been watching some WNBA game. I'm sure I know for damn sure there was a baseball game on. I know for sure there was a baseball game on. You could have been watching any type of sporting event, but you decided you wanted to watch the watch the BET Awards. Why, Stephen A.? Stephen A., I'm 51 years old. I couldn't tell you not one. I don't know none of these rappers. Because I don't listen to that shit. It's trash. So I'm not going to tune into a show that shows these rappers. I'm not, because I don't know them. But you can. You can. So that's all that matters. I'm just saying, man. And then you got mad at Willie D because Willie D called you a name. Willie D called you a name, and here you are, you getting on name, you calling Kyrie names, you call Kanye West names, you call Kwame Brown names. It's your job to tear down black men every day. They give you millions of dollars to go to ESPN and tear down black men. But now you get upset and your feelings are hurt because Willie D called you a name. What the fuck? You was calling Kwame a bust. You was calling Kwame all types of names. You didn't take in consideration none of these people's feelings. You didn't take in consideration none of these people's feelings when you was up here calling them names. You called Kwame fat. You called him lazy. And then you get mad because Willie D called you a name. Boy, Stephen A. Hey, man. And then you talking about you don't want to tear down your brother. But didn't you sleep with Jalen Wright's wife? I mean, that was the rumor going around that you slept with Jalen Rose's wife. Ain't that crazy? That's what people were saying, that you slept with Molly. Stephen A., come on, man. You never came out and said, hey, I didn't sleep with Jalen Rose's wife. So you just let that rumor spread. You never came out and said, hey, no, y'all need to stop that. I ain't never slept with this man's wife. I don't know what y'all talking about. So you just let people think you slept with Jalen Rose's wife. Boy, man. And your homeboy Shannon Sharp. Why didn't you get on Shannon Sharp about being on Fox? All stations to be on. He was on Fox with a skull cap on, some Hennessy, and a Black and Mild. You didn't say, hey, Shannon, you're making black people look bad. You got an image to uphold. You know you can't be on TV smoking Black and Milds with a do-rag and some yak. Why didn't you chastise him? Why are you gonna come chastise the rest of us, you know? Ooh, Stephen, hey, man, you can't make this shit up, man. Shit.